to the podcast, the Post Boys Podcast. Join Gary and Ian talking movies.
Hello and welcome to the Post Boys Podcast with me, Ian, and always
Gary
as well. And today we're going to be looking at talking about the 1967/1968 swinging London, the swinging Britain classic. Here we go round the Mulberry Bush by Clive Donner, not to be confused with Richard Donner or Stanley Donen.
Yeah, I thought Clive Donner, is he related to Richard Donner? Probably not, but no.
Clive Donner, he started editor of Scrooge and Genevieve and Colonel Blimp and Oliver Twist, but then most famous for directing What's New Pussycat, and then The Caretaker, and then on to Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush. But then later on, he made all those TV movies. You know, the Scrooge, the Christmas Carol with George C. Scott, and Oliver Twist, and those kind of, what was I going to say? The Peter Ustinov TV movie, Poirot's. Yeah, he started to do this, but this is a swinging London. Well, swinging Stevenage movie.
Yeah. Because they make some references to Manchester, so I wasn't sure if it was in Manchester or something.
No, it's down in Hunter Davis. That he wrote the book in 1964. Well, he read Catcher in the Rye and thought, I can do that. So
because basically, if you read Catcher in the Rye, you're thinking, I could do that as well, because he's just some plonker just going off on a rant for the whole bloody book. Is that all I know?
Hunter Davies, he decides, look, I'm going to write a book like that, because his wife at the time, his wife was Margaret Forster. The Forster who wrote Georgie Girl. So
you tell me.
So Hunter Davies, he writes Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush, sets it in Carlisle. But when it came to making the film, they thought there was too many films set up north, so they decided to make it one down south. In Stevenage, and that's the Stevenage, which was one of the new towns, and that's why the Stevenage town centre looks a bit like the old Overgate in Dundee, Mr. Bojangles, C&A, all that sort of stuff, which it works well, I think, settling in a new town, because everything's, and obviously, I mean, these new towns were built in the 40s, so...
Yeah, that's why I was like, didn't think it was London sort of thing, because it kind of looks like a more condensed area. So they're all in a little bubble.
Yeah, obviously Hunter Davies, he's most famous for writing the biography, the first official biography of the Beatles. Because originally they wanted Paul McCartney to do the title song, and they went to Paul McCartney and they said, do you want to fancy writing the title song for this Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush? And he said, No, he wasn't that interested. No. but the Hunter said, well, how about maybe you write, or would you be interested in me writing an official biography? So the official biography of the Beatles came out in 1968, and that's how Paul McCartney came to the premiere of the film, because the film says 1967 copyright, but it didn't come out they didn't have the gala premiere to 68, and then I think January 68, and came out in cinemas maybe February 68. And of course, it was going to go to the Cannes Film Festival in the May 68, but because of the student revolution, that whole Cannes was cancelled.
And then it went to the Eurotrash Cannes Festival instead.
Hello, my British chums. But so the story itself is Jamie McGregor. He's not Scottish anyway.
Oh, Jamie! That's what I get throughout the movie. Oh, Jamie!
So Oh, Jamie, you bastard. Oh, Jamie. So Jamie McGregor. So Barry Evans. This was his first film introducing Barry Evans.
He was about probably like early 20s or mid 20s at the time or something.
I would say it's maybe about 22, 23, and there was a audition for about 200 people, and he got it. He'd been acting in mostly theatre and bits and pieces. So you've got Jamie McGregor, and he's a young fella, and he's
Is he secondary school?
Grammar school.
Because you can see, was it Bedwell?
Bedwell, which I think they carry on. So he goes to Bedwell Grammar School. And
is this produced by Peter Rogers?
Peter Rogers. So that's why that he's got a younger brother who seems to be
doing better than he is.
Better than he is. So he must be the last year of grammar school. So he must be, well, if his brother, he says he's 16, so he must be almost 18. This must be his last year of grammar school. And he's kind of sex obsessed. He's looking at all the women, and he can't approach women. Or he feels that he has this dream girl, which is Mary Gloucester, played by Judy Geeson, and he can't approach her, and he thinks, well, perhaps I need more experience first. And Judy Geeson's, her name is, as I say, Mary Gloucester, and her father's a doctor. So I wonder if that's a play on words. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Oh. So he, what proceeds is Jamie goes through, meets a number of women.
There's about probably like 4 or 5 women that he has an encounter with.
So he has an encounter with various women until eventually he plucks up enough courage to ask Mary, his dream girl, out, and then he goes out with her, and she's just
Judy Geeson, I thought.
Oh, you mean Gleason? Do you think
I thought it was Gleason? So I know, and then now it's Geeson. Yeah.
So he
wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so he starts like a wee relationship with Judy Geeson, and then he says, well, they go to a botel at the end, which is a boating hotel.
This is the, pardon the pun, the climax of the this is the last probably like 10-15 minutes of the movie. Is that so? I know.
Yes,
Because this is what he was kind of looking for, was he? This was
So he goes through it, and then he kind of discovers that she just wants to have a good time, and I can't go with you this week, but the week after, and he says, well, no, I want a relationship.
Yeah, I'm with some other bloke in the boat next week, but I could be with you the week after, kind of thing. So.
And I think, as you say, he's not as open-minded. No, I don't mean open-minded. I think
because he kind of put this girl on a pedestal, and
well, that's the thing. I don't think Jamie is as modern-minded or liberal-minded, and then he finds out at the end that sex isn't as important as he initially kind of believed. That and then it's like. And then he thinks that the last girl he meets, who was actually Judy Geeson's best friend, she's going to
the posh snobby one.
No. Well, as I say, we'll go.
The girl right at the end of the movie that smiles.
Diane Keane, which is, her name's Claire. So.
But was she? Is that the one that smiles at the end of the movie? But was she in the movie before?
Yes, she was when he first meets. Judy Gleason's Mary, and she said, "Oh, I'm waiting for my best friend Claire," and that's that. And he almost comes full circle. Yeah, because initially meets Andre and it's Adrian Poster, and then it's who plays Linda Spate, Sheila White, Paula. Angela Scalar.
Ruddy Linda.
Right, I think it's Runny
Linda.
Angela Scalar, Caroline Beauchamp, Vanessa Howard, Audrey, Judy Geeson, Mary Gloucester, and Diane Keane, Claire.
I think Angela Scalar.
Yes.
Playing Caroline Beauchamp. He was. She was like the snotty one.
Yeah. Well, the high end, the posh one. So you
but
go-
they were all kind of, the whole family kind of acted like buddy swingers, basically,
well, that's the dams and
drunks.
jam. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, you know. So as I say, all these women are seen as maybe either dumb, manipulative, artificial, silly, unscrupulous.
I noticed like the women up until the last one, the women come across as very one-dimensional, like airheads. Basically, they just
Yes.
doing the same thing basically, and there's not much there behind the eyes, kind of thing. Like the Caroline who plays the snotty one. She basically, the first interaction is her just going, "What was that word she was saying? Super, and that's all." And then it was like there was just quite a few phrases that the women say, like super,
Great.
and what was the one with the church? So I know. It's a fine time. You'll have a fine time or something.
Fine time at the church rave.
The church rave. So
Well, that's the thing. That the Sheila White who plays Paula, who's gets Jamie to come to the church rave, and she's so kind of manipulative. And there's a scene where they're in the disco, and the lights go out every couple of minutes, so people can have a quick snog. And you see her determined face when the lights go out. She just grabs Jamie and snogs him, and then as soon as the light comes on, pushes him away and acts as if nothing's happening. And obviously
because that was a church rave, so basically they turn the lights out for about 10 seconds, we'll have a quick snog, turn the lights back on, and then everybody's acting on the best behaviour.
And then
so this his best mate, is it Spike?
The best mate is played by Christopher Timothy, and he's the one who seems to have a bit more experience. You know, he just chats him into bed. He just goes, right, love, you're pulled, come on, And then he's got his parents. His parents are played by Michael Bate. Is it Michael? No, is it Michael Bates? Michael, who's it?
Is it because his mother calls the father?
Yes.
So I was getting worried. Like, is that basically? Is it a single mother and a granddad something?
No. That's
because it's hard to tell because they all look pretty older. They all kind of look older.
Well, that's the thing. So Jamie's mum is played by Moira Fraser, who was a ballet dancer initially, and she was in As Time Goes By. You know, the sitcom.
Right, yeah.
And then she was in The Boyfriend and Moulin Rouge, and then Michael Bates, who plays the father. He was in Patton. He played Field Marshal Montgomery in Patton. You know, he was in The Clockwork Orange, Battle of Britain, Frenzy. He was the Stone Tapes as well.
Oh.
And also he was a major in the Indian Army in Burma.
He kind of has that major look, does he?
Yeah. So he was with the Gurkhas.
The Gurkhas.
And of course he was played Ranji Ram in the Ain't Half Hot Mum.
Okay.
He was the one who he had a light tan. So, he could speak Urdu. So he was the guy. And also he was in the first 2 seasons of, where was it? Last the Summer Wine. Yeah, he played Cyril. Who was it? Cyril Ballmeyer. And as I say, unlike most 60s films, the family, the TV isn't on. The families are listening to radio, playing the pools, jigsaws, reading books because the mum's studying for her PhD.
She's reading Oliver Twist and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then she keeps bringing blancmanges in because our neighbour keeps making blancmanges, and none of her family will eat them, so she keeps bringing them into the house.
What does he say? You say something. Does she ever make anything that they eat? So
that's the thing. That's and as I said, there's some brilliant classic lines. Well, the thing is,
but it's got a kind of unique structure because it's obviously aware of itself, and it's right from the get-go. You've got this guy who's riding a bike and he's basically talking away to himself. Well, he's basically talking to you. But
he's speaking in the first person, which means thinking out loud.
But he's actually speaking out. So basically, his lips are moving. It's not like a voiceover.
No.
So, but no, when he's speaking like that in the movie, even though his voice is, his lips are moving, nobody else can hear. Sort of, I know, because it's part of it's this conversation with the viewers.
Which I think there's only one little shot where he actually looks directly in the camera and breaks the fourth wall. And if you compare it to Alfie breaks the fourth wall, or Fleabag, and he's speaking directly to you. This speaking in the first person, I think it speeds the film along, because you don't have to stop and actually address the camera, because he can just walk around and people can be around him and he can be speaking his mind. Because I think it makes him feel less cocky, because obviously Barry Evans, he was in Adventures of a Taxi Driver. Is it Adventures of a Taxi Driver? And about 10 years later, and he breaks the fourth wall.
Is that when he's kind of
like Confessions
type of one?
Yeah. So
Robin Asquith was in that as well, was he?
Oh no, that was the Confessions film. You've got the Confessions films with Robin Asquith, and then you have the adventure films, and there was Adventures of a Taxi Driver, Adventures of a Private Detective, which Barry Evans was a wee bit down on his luck, so he stars in this film, and it's a huge success. The Adventures film and Adventures of a Taxi Driver. He doesn't sign on for the sequel; doesn't want anything to do with it. He makes Under the Doctor, which was like a Doctor in the House kind of sexploitation kind of thing, and they get that Christopher Neal, who then is in the other films, and they're big hits. But then Barry Evans goes on to be in Mind Your Language. It's
got a unique style. It kind of reminds me of kind of Clockwork Orange kind of bit cross between very early Grange Hill school scenes. It's kind of a bit of kitchen sink drama, but on drugs and everybody's happy kind of thing. So
well, that's the thing. There's a lot of great lines, and you think there's some of those lines feel as if, you know, when the comic strip in the 80s maybe was it Five Go Mad and was it Devon or stuff like that? You know, they're making like a 50s kind of adventure in the 80s.
It's like Enid Blyton.
I needed Blyton, but there is the Mum Moira Fraser character when he goes to that party in the carpet shop, and Moira Fraser says, "Not too many of those nasty drugs, you two." And it's like something that you would say in the 1980s, looking back at the 1960s. You don't think that there's a film set in the 60s about a character that wishes he was in the 60s, that is in the 60s, and people are mentioning not too many drugs. You know, I mean, there's some brilliant lines as well, you know, that this is not how it ends, you know, not with a bang, but with a wimpy, you know?
Yeah, I love Wimpy. I used to love Wimpy at the time. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah, it's, that kind of brings back memories of growing up in the 70s, because I'm that old.
Well, because I mean, he's always saying, you know, why the ones you fancy don't fancy you, and the ones that fancy you, you don't fancy, you know? That's basically the whole film, really. There
was Wimpy like a British franchise.
British one.
Okay, so if anybody in North America's listened to this, which I doubt, Wimpy's kind of like McDonald's, but kind of like a British franchise.
Yeah, but it was a knife and fork. You didn't.
Okay, yeah, you sat down. You got like a waitress or a waiter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like in Arbroath, the Wimpy in Arbroath.
Yeah, I was there for ages.
There was a girl there worked there for like decades. I remember, what was her name? So can't remember her name. She had dark hair, but I just remember going in and she was always there, sort of, you know, serving us. Sort of.
And funnily enough, I think there was isn't it Dudley Moore working a Wimpy in Bedazzled? I think
I haven't seen that since it came out.
You know, I think it was there. But as I say,
well, you're talking about the original Bedazzled.
Oh yes,
not the Brendan Fraser one, is it?
Yeah, that's
Elizabeth Hurley. Yeah.
You know, well, the cinematography is great. The cinematographer on this one is Alec Thompson.
Ah, okay, that rings a bell. Alex Thompson. Now, I knew you were.
Alex Thompson, he was. he was only ever nominated for an Oscar once. He didn't win, unfortunately. It was for Excalibur.
Yes. I just bought the 4K
And
Excalibur.
and he was, I don't know if he was a chairman. He was a chairman of the British Society of Cinematographers, but a lot of people looked upon him as the cinematographer. Now, I'm going to list some of his films.
Yeah.
Right? Some
Could
of
be
his
good.
films. Well, obviously, he's worked with Clive Donner a couple of times, so Alfred the Great. So he's been in Alfred the Great, Electric Dreams, Dr. Phibes Rides Again, Labyrinth, Excalibur, Deathline, The Keep, Year of the Dragon, Legend, Leviathan, Raw Deal, Alien 3, Fear is the Key, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse, which was an attempt to do a female version of Timmy Lee, The Craze, Sir Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, and the last film he ever did was A Shot at Glory, the classic with Robert Duvall and Ali McCoy.
He went out with a bang.
But I think some of those films, and also The Sicilian. A lot of these films, they're all bangers. I think, to do the Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, Raw Deal.
Like obviously, you're talking about style over substance. I mean, basically, Excalibur and The Keep and all that.
The Keep, The Year of the Dragon. I always thought that was fantastic.
Year of the Dragon. That is one of my favourite Mickey Rourke movies. It's just, it's just a hidden gem. Obviously, people will probably think it's a bit kind of racist towards a certain minority group, but I mean, this is something that was written by the guy that did the Deer Hunter, and wrote and directed it. But this was like, we've said this before, Mickey Rourke, he had the world in the palm of his hand at that time.
Yeah, it was just,
and he just kind of threw it all away.
Yeah, hard to work with, Obviously, in the film, Jamie has these. When he meets the women, he thinks maybe he might settle with this one, or this might be a good relationship.
But the twist is
that there's a dream sequence, and this is when he kind of fantasizes, and those dream sequences and the titles were done by Richard Williams, who obviously most famous for Roger Rabbit, the Thief and the Cobbler, doing the animations for Tony Richardson's The Charge of the Light Brigade. All that, and the dream sequences are usually undercranked, almost like silent movies,
Yeah, it's got this kind of wacky 1920s kind of thing going on, and it's all, the colours are all screwed up, and it's very hallucinogenic and all trippy.
Well, that's the thing that I remember reading. I got a book back in. There's two brilliant books. I've one fairly recently, and another. One's called Psychedelic Celluloid: British Pop Music and Film and TV, 1965 to 74, by Simon Matthews. I got that a few years ago, and back in 1992, I got a book called 60s British Cinema by Robert Murphy, who was a lecturer in Sheffield, and this was 1992. So he wrote this in the late 80s, early 90s. This was the first edition, and I read this book, and I was fascinated by it. There was a big section on Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush, and he listed all these films that he must have researched in the 80s that only recently have I got round to seeing. So, and obviously this book, this 60s British cinema, this came about, I say, Robert Murphy. This came out, and I was fascinated by all these 60s films, but you could only, at the time, only see a handful of them, because, people want to, because the 60s films, this was before Cool Britannia came in the 90s, they were kind of almost undervalued, seen as, they were either depressing or they were seen as kind of, empty-headed, just bits of fluff, because you've got like the late 60s, and as I say, sometimes you can accuse the mid-60s, late 60s films of being, how they like to disrupt the narrative, fantasy sequences, slapstick visual gags, intertitles, addresses, direct to camera. Some people might think, well, that's just fluff, that's just empty-headedness, when in actual fact, it's, I think it's good.
The opening credits are very like you described, Austin Powers, like, is it? With the font and the style.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you could say, like, at the time, hits can seem less attractive over time. And, like, and some films are dismissed as being boring or average can be seen as, have a new life later on. But let's say some of the actresses. So you've got now a lot of these actresses. I'm not saying that they could be interchangeable, but you've got Andrea Posta, Sheila White, Angela Scolar, Vanessa Howard, Judy Geeson, Diane Keane. Now, Andrea Posta, she was in To Serve With Love. She was Up the Junction.
Was it a couple of the women that was in that To Serve With Love?
Judy Geeson was in To Serve With Love. It's like a lot of these films. When you actually look at their filmography, they didn't star in that many films in the 60s. But either it was one really high profile film, or it was a couple of films that have just been constantly reshown.
What's is it Geeson or Geeson? Geeson?
Oh yeah, Sally. Well, it's
Judy.
Sally, yeah, Judy. Obviously she had a sister, Sally, who was in Bless This House with Sid James. But no, she was in Goodbye Gemini. There's a lot of these actresses that in the later 60s that they were either starred in love triangle films or May to December romances, or they were in like swinging London kind of murders, weird ones, because Vanessa Howard, she was in that Mumsy, Nanny, Sunny, Girly. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I'm pretty sure I would have remembered with a title like that.
And Goodbye Gemini, it's when it's like it's sours. It's like you've got young hip people either living in a mansion, and there's like not quite an incestuous. That there's almost a bit like
free love kind of, just like very open relationship.
Yeah, or it's a bit like I don't mean whatever happened to Baby Jane, but all these other ones like Who Slew Aunt Rue and all this sort of what became of Jack and Jill. All these ones where they've taken like a nursery rhyme, but they've put in like a kind of murder kind of whether it's been
a twist on it.
Yeah, whether it's been an influence by Manson or stuff like that. Because obviously Andrea Posta, she was a singer, actress. I think she now lectures. I think she teaches. And then you got Sheila White. She was in I, Claudius. She played Messalina. The one that she was the one that I think in history has been unkind to her, but she was the one that wanted the orgy with so many suitors.
In real life?
No, in Messalina that she played in I, Claudius. Yeah.
Sheila White, she was in Oliver.
Yes, yeah, she was in the Confessions film. She played Rosie Noggett. She was. There's a brilliant in the first Confessions of a Window Cleaner. She's pregnant and she says, "Oh, I think the baby's coming," and then she lets out this belch and she just goes wind, and it's one of the funniest little scenes earlier on.
Yeah.
But, and also she was in Silver Dream Racer.
Oh, with David Essex.
Now, the thing is about Silver Dream Racer, people talk about the endings of Seven or The Mist, but the Silver Dream Racer...
Are you comparing Silver Dream Racer with Seven?
No, I'm just saying that the ending,
okay.
It's a bit of a gut punch if you're watching that film. And you know...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the one where he thinks he's won and he's doing like a victory lap and he's got his hands off the handlebars going, yeah, and then he crashes and kills himself. Stupid idiot. Yeah, I remember that song. I just thought it was funny as hell. I mean,
yeah, she was, I think, Diane Keane. Obviously, there's a lot of these actresses who went on to film and a little bit of TV, or they only did a couple of films and it was mostly TV. I mean, Diane Keane, who plays Claire, she was in the Cuckoo Waltz. She was in Doctors. She was in was it one of the coffee adverts? Was it Maxwell House?
okay.
But
was it Gareth Hunt had Nescafe kind of rights? So
yes, yeah. So obviously Angela Scholar, she was in on Her Majesty's Secret Service. She played
Was
Rosie.
I'm going to have to watch that again.
She was in Casino Royale. She played Buttercup. She's in The Bath with David Niven.
Super.
She's
the women have got kind of little catchphrases, did they? Sort of like they repeat over and over.
yeah. Well, here's the thing: you've got Andrea Posta. She was in To Serve With Love, Up the Junction, Spring and Port Wine, which Carry On Behind, Adventures of a Taxi Driver, Adventures of a Private Eye. In actual fact, that was the last film. Well, funnily enough, 10 years later, Barry Evans makes Confessions of a Taxi Driver, and I think it's just pure coincidence that you've got Adrian Posta and Angela Scholar in both those films. And I don't think it's any reference to Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush. I think it just so happens that they were actresses around that time. But
yeah, what about the title of the movie? What does that mean? Is there some sort of sexual connotation?
Well, I was looking into that and thinking about Mulberry Bush, Gooseberry Bush, but then
it's got Bush and somebody's lowbrow as me.
but then the nursery rhyme. There's nothing in the nursery rhyme.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a nursery rhyme. It kind of sounds like a children's movie, does it?
The only thing you can say about the Mulberry Bush is it goes, here we go round the Mulberry Bush. This is the way we brush our teeth. This is the way we wash our face. This is the way we put on clothes. Now, whether Hunter Davies thought that's the and here we go round the Mulberry Bush, or it's just sounded good.
Just like here we go round loads of bushes,
in the bushes. But now. There's a little scene when in the second girl he meets Paula, who's in the church rave, and she ropes him into being in the Pan, the King of the Fairies, and it's a little summer fete kind of thing. And he goes on, and there's a little boy who's there, and you would swear any money that was Chris Evans, the radio presenter. Because he's a little ginger-headed boy. He plays one of the boy, her sisters. They're lost in the woods, babes in the wood, and you would swear that was Chris Evans. But unfortunately, Chris Evans was born in 1966, and that's 67, so that couldn't be Chris
Evans. Unless he was lying about his age.
Yes, but I challenge anybody to watch that scene in the little pantomime and not think that's Chris Evans. The presenter, the radio presenter, not the Captain America.
So this Paula kind of manipulates him, but she just kind of uses him basically.
Yes, so. Yeah. So he goes with Linda first, and Linda seems to be just.
She's like an empty shell. She's just like empty.
Yeah, and he's thinking, could I have a life with somebody?
But she kind of looks okay. So she's not exactly. She's quite a pretty girl.
Well, he's going out with. Goes out with her in the night, and then goes into the woods because he thinks maybe he might have a kiss and a cuddle, and he kisses her, and she seems kind of almost dead, and then she sees Mary standing there, and he kind of pushes Linda on the ground to get away, and then she starts wriggling and says, oh Jamie, you bastard, Jamie.
She's got absolutely no personality, and he kind of inadvertently chucks on the ground so he doesn't get seen with her because Mary's on the other side of the road, and then suddenly she spouts a personality while she's lying in the muck,
and she goes, oh Jamie, and then once Mary gets on the bus with Spike, he then looks and then says, what are you doing down there? And then he says a horrible thing. He says, what are you doing down there, you stupid bitch? And it's like
she's waiting to get planted, that's why.
so it's terrible. He said, and then she says, oh, you threw me in the cow crap, and he said, right, that's it, I'm taking you home. I've
Oh, you kind of missed an opportunity there. But Linda, played by Adrian
Posta.
I can't read from. I look like pastor over here. To Serve With Love, Up the Junction, the Alf Garnett show, and saga, and Carry On Behind.
Carry On Behind. But the thing is that it's obviously it's a youth centric, but it's cruel as well. I mean, that's the thing. It's a wee bit callous and and cruel, you know.
Yeah, so kind of, I mean, that Linda must have been only like 18 when she made this movie, because she was born in 49. So if my maths
Yes,
right,
yeah.
and this was 60. When was it? 67.
It's filmed in April 67.
Okay,
You know.
so she must have been, yeah. So she was quite young.
Yeah. So as I say, he then Spike challenges him to say, "Well, ask that girl out," and it's that Paula who's at the church rave, and she kind of just manipulates him into with the promise of a kind of kiss and a cuddle.
And she get spoiler alert, she gets pregnated by the priest. So yeah,
And
she's like, "Oh, Jamie, he's a priest," and then at the end of the movie, she gets pregnated by him, the priest.
Well, the thing, and also you've got so that was Sheila White, and then he meets Vanessa Howard, Audrey, who's a kind of airhead, a little bit, but then
she's kind of
great. Is it great? I think she says great or super or smashing or
super smashing great. Yeah, she's kind of cute, but annoying, and she kind of just turns up at he's doing his homework.
Yes,
and then she just turns up at his house, banging on the door.
So what happens is he goes to the club with the posh boys in the grammar school.
Because that's where he meets her. Because she's hanging out with all the posh kids at the upper class school.
Yeah, like the private club, and that's where he meets Angela Sklar. And after that, meets Caroline. And after Caroline, he just swears off women. He says, "That's it. Cold showers. I've had it." There's a brilliant line where he's got his vest and shorts on. He's going out jogging, and there's a brilliant reference. He said, well, "I'm going to have to start training if our Borstal is going to beat that grammar public school," which is a reference to the loneliness of the long distance runner. And then Vanessa Howard, Audrey, she then turns up at his house to then invite him to a party in his dad's carpet shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where he then meets Mary, and then that's where he then, by this time, plucks up enough courage.
Yeah, it was that was a bit of it's kind of very kind of drug-oriented experience, and everybody was just away with it with us. So.
Well, whether it was drugs or whether it was, as you say, just well, I suppose maybe there's a.
You don't actually. You kind of get that impression, but you don't really see anybody taking drugs in the movie. But it's got that hallucinogenic kind of look and style to it, does it?
Yeah.
And she's got a thing, Audrey, about sitting on knees and things.
I like sitting on a clean knee. But as you say, the filming parts can be cruel and kind of unfair. It's like,
I think she likes sitting on knees because she likes to probably like see if she could feel anything down below, kind of thing. So
I mean, they are.
She's like sitting on the other guy's knee as well. So
they are kind of caricatures, you know.
But that's when they kind of sound like just like one-dimensional characters, kind of. The only woman or girl is Mary at the end that she gives it. You get a bit more in depth into what she wants. It's all about what he wants.
Yes.
And these are all just one-dimensional characters to him. Maybe that's the way it is. But at the end, Mary kind of lets us in what she wants.
Yeah.
And that's not what he wants.
No. He doesn't want. I suppose it's like he doesn't want to be treated the way he's been treating the other women. You know?
Super.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The film's almost like it's not so much how to lose the virginity so much as with whom. You know, it's only a matter of time in his mind. You know.
Yeah. But I was going to say, and it kind of. You got a bit of on the buses at the end as well.
well, that's how it is. So he breaks off with Mary, and then they start the film kind of ends-ish with them working on the buses in order to save up money to go to Manchester University. and that's when they say, well, no, Mary failed her exams, but Claire, who's you met right at the start, she's come to Manchester, and there's that idea that perhaps, and even Jamie, maybe a wee bit on the nose, says, that's the kind of girl I could marry. So maybe that's the.
Yeah.
But it's like all the women there, that they're, all the actresses, that they've been in so many films, and sometimes they get confused with the other actresses round about that time, and there must be maybe a 10-year difference between, like that Adrian Posta, Sheila White, Angela Scala, Vanessa Howard, Judy Gleason, Diane Keane. But then you have all the other actresses, either they've shared a scene with, or you've got like Susie Kendall, Susan George, Susan Penhaligon, Julia Foster, Julie Christie, Carol White, Barbara Ferris, Linda Hayden, all these films, and all these women who either in the 60s or early 70s were in either Spanish, Italian films, kind of horror, swinging London love triangle films, and they all get kind of put in the mix. And sometimes some of them were actually you might have three all in the same. In actual fact, you've got Susan Kendall, Susan George, and that Adrian Posta all in Up the Junction.
Yeah, I've seen Susie Kendall in a few. I'm really big into my Italian movies.
Yes.
I do a lot of giallo thrillers and kind of proto slashers in the early 70s, and there's always one big kind of English or American star, plus the rest of the cast, and Susan George is one, or Susie Kendall is one as well, sort of, plus the normal people. So I've seen a few things with Susie Kendall in it, Italian cinema stuff.
Yeah.
Diane.
Yeah. She's mostly television, a little bit.
And she's a little bit older. She was born in 46. So, she'll be like 21 then or something, would she?
Yes, yeah.
The other girls were like 18 or 19.
And then, of course, because you look at them, you don't think they're actually, they're supposed to be, I suppose, maybe, well, at least 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20,
Well, kind of. It's not like it's bad nowadays when you've got high school kids that are like 20, 29, 30.
So you've got obviously Christopher Timothy, and then you've got Roy, is it Roy Holden, who plays his another kind of friend, school friend. And there's that one in the showers.
Oh yeah, he's got like a recognisable face.
Yeah, because he was in Zeffirelli. He was in Taming the Shrew and Romeo and Juliet. But the thing is, the fashions are spot on of the time. That's what you watch it, But then sometimes it's like, no, that's too fashionable. These Peter Pan collars and those paisley shirts, which haven't lasted well,
What was this movement called in the late 60s in Britain? This is new. Was it called this like kind of was it Antonelli? Is it Antonelli's Blow Up with
Blow It? Yeah.
With David Hemmings and stuff. There was a terminology for this movie.
They would just call that swinging London. Those the kind of swinging London movies, even though they weren't. So you've got the kitchen sink dramas at the start of the 60s, black and white, is Grim Up North, and then you have what they class as the swinging London stuff. So starting at maybe the Knack 65, but then all of a sudden it starts to kind of fade and sour. And that's there's a scene when they're all in the changing rooms after PE or whatever, and they're all saying about about protection, and somebody says, well, use a dial, strap a watch on,
have a hot shower or something. It makes you impotent.
have a hot shower, put on a wristwatch, because it's the radioactive dial will make you sterile.
Oh my God.
And all that.
It's like kind of bad enough nowadays with that crap.
It's and also you got Nicky Henderson, he plays the guy whose dad owns a carpet shop, and he was in all this there's a girl in my soup, all that sort of stuff, you know. And a film I'd never heard of, Crooks and Coronets, that stars Warren Oates and Telly Savalas and Hattie Jakes, which I'd never seen a film. It's one of those, as you say.
Is that like a play on that Ealing comedy? Was it Hearts and Coronets?
Oh yeah, Kind Hearts and Coronets. But it was one of those ones, you know, what was it called? Was it Sammy Davis and Peter Lawford starring a thing called Salt and Pepper, and they were like lords, and you know how the Americans started to make films over here, and then when the new Hollywood, when the Graduate and all that sort of stuff, they thought, well, wait a minute, and the Bonnie and Clyde, the money comes out of London and they go back to America, you know. So you've got all these extravagant British films, you know, those late films, you know, almost like that, you know, where it almost becomes a parody. It's just like, you know, huge sets, huge big kipper ties, and it's just like, yeah, craziness.
Judy Geeson was born in 1948, so she was quite young at this time as well.
Yeah.
But she went on to do like 10 Rollington Place. So that was the one with the serial killer.
Yes, yeah.
Was that the one with Attenborough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was in a lot of those films.
Was there not some like weird thing where there was a miscarriage of justice or something?
Oh yes, no.
Later on, they found out that it wasn't.
Yes, no, it was
something like
that. Is it Timothy? Was it Timothy Evans? Was the guy, and that he got hanged. He had a limited intelligence, and I think as Christie had taken out a medical procedure, and I don't know whether he helped with it, but or so Christie pinned it on him to say, I know it was all him, I know it wasn't anything to do with me, and there was a miscarriage. He was hung when he was, you know.
Hate that. Judy was in The Eagle Has Landed.
Yes, yeah, she was in it, and also she was in Brannigan. No, sorry, Brannigan with John Wayne.
John Wayne,
yeah. No, she was.
She's also in The Lords of Salem.
Yes,
is that a Rob Zombie one?
That's a Rob Zombie one.
I'm not.
And also, Thingy has a tiny small part. Angela Pleasance, Donald Pleasance's daughter. She has a tiny part when when Barry Evans delivers the groceries. Somebody opens the door in a kind of flat, and that's her. You know,
Donald Pleasance did his time in European cinema as well. He did a lot of kind of Euro trash. He also did a few. I think, well, at least one Terence Hill, Bud Spencer movie. So if you grew up in the 70s, I mean, probably the Americans probably know who Terence Hill, Bud Spencer are, but they were quality. So
well, who was the actor who played Bluto?
Paul Smith. But he actually made a.
They started to do a series which was like the Bud.
They did the whole Terence Hill, Bud Spencer kind of rip off thing. Yeah, it's just, I mean, Terence Hill, Bud Spencer were ripping off American movies, and then you got Americans ripping off Terence Hill and Bud Spencer movies. It's just it's crazy. Yeah, I remember like they got very kind of not political, but very pro environment and stuff, saving the world and stuff. And they did a movie I think it was in the 80s called I'm for the Hippopotamus. So where they just like go around. Well, there's always a big fight scene where there's always a comical fight scene where these guys, and then the Terence Hill would eat like 20 cans of beans or something, and then hot dogs on top of it. So, and there's always some scene where he's eating beans or something. So.
Well, one of the things we haven't talked about is the music.
Yes, and because you got Spencer Davis Group and Traffic.
You've got Traffic, Spencer Davis Group, and then you've got Andy Ellison, who did It's Been a Long Time from, was it John's Children? And that's the one where you hear the Spanish guitar, and it's almost like classed as Mary's theme, the Judy Geeson character. You know, ding, 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 yeah. And
what about Stevie Winwood?
Stevie, there's Stevie Winwood. Well, no, it was Stevie Winwood left Spencer Davis to go and to do Traffic.
Yeah, but Traffic did some of the stuff on this as well. But the band in the
is
Spencer Davis Group, was that?
Spencer Davis Group.
We don't see, but I'm pretty sure we've seen Stevie some of the songs with Stevie Winwood with Traffic or something.
Yeah.
So,
And it was Simon Napier Bell who'd produced the Yardbirds, did the production.
so who's Muff Winwood? Is that Stevie Winwood's brother or something?
I don't know.
Because I seen Muff Winwood.
Maybe.
So it must be a relation. Yeah.
But the thing is, I think, I don't know whether it's about some of the songs sound a bit too samey. You know, the production, it sounds too, it's like, you know, like sometimes in a film when somebody switches on the radio and you hear this, and it's like, no, that's like music, that's been intentionally made, you know, and here's the pick of the pops, and a lot of the songs sound the same. Now, whether it's down to the production, you know,
Maybe that's what director wanted, or style.
Or maybe it was like, maybe you shouldn't have had Spencer Davis and Traffic. Maybe you should have had like a mixture or something else, because that Clive Donner, he wanted
Led Zeppelin or something.
Well, that Clive Donner he just wanted all music. He didn't want any composition. He just wanted all contemporary kind of songs.
What was the band in Blow Up with David Hemmings? Because I think I had Jimmy Page or something in it.
Was it?
It was what was that band? The Yardbirds or something,
Yeah,
or something. It was like one of the later version of Yardbirds. I think you see what's his name? The guy just died. The guitar player, Rod Stewart's mate, Jeff Beck.
Yes,
Jeff Beck, and so you see Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page in Blow Up with Hemmings when he goes into that party scene when he's chasing after this girl. That's kind of a similar style, swinging London kind of thing. He's a photographer.
Well, I think that's when people said that it reached its peak. So by the time you're influenced by that and try to make some films, sometimes it's too late. It's like Dracula AD 72, which it's quite obviously somebody wanted to make a swinging London film, but they were so late into
it was 72 was too late. But no pun intended, the cast is quite stacked in Dracula AD 72.
And well, you know yourself, it took so long to get to America that they had to change it to AD 73.
Oh God!
You know.
Look at those. There's a scene where Jamie gets invited to have a meal with is it Caroline's family?
Beauchamp, and they're testing the wine and the snobby.
Yeah, seemingly father has this amazing ability to make faces while he drinks wine. So it's quite funny.
I think, did I read somewhere that Denham Elliott was from Stevenage?
Okay. So maybe that's why you just 10-minute walk down the road from his house. Probably.
You know,
probably that's why he got him in, because he was only in like this one kind of main scene kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing, because he looks younger there, because obviously a year earlier he was in Alfie playing the kind of doctor, and he looked older then. I was probably made to look older.
Remember I showed you my my Hammer House of Horror TV box set picked up for like £3 from the charity shop.
Yeah.
Well, he was in one of the stories where he has like a Groundhog Day experience where he kind of relives the same day, and it's quite funny, that one. I just remember he's like some like property. No, he's like some real estate guy or something, and he's got this assistant. He does fantasies with, so I know, and it kind of gets a bit over the top at the end.
But we're still to talk about Barry Evans's performance, because that was absolutely fantastic as a debut. It's like, this guy's a complete natural. Now I know he felt typecast, because after this he goes into TV Doctor in the House, and he's for a couple of years, and because he's so baby faced and looks so young looking, he took exception. I think he's only ever played the bad guy once. Was it Mary Ann Die, that film from the 60s or 70s?
Never, must have missed that.
No,
but I reckon as soon as I see them, I recognised them. Because I kind of grew up with a lot of these sitcoms in the 70s.
Yeah, and then obviously he gets reckon it was at 77, 78. It's the first series of Mind Your Language, and then it's reinstated at 86.
That's more ingrained in my mind.
And of course, Mind Your Language was a sitcom where it's like an evening class, and it's English for foreign
students.
Yeah, foreign students. So you've got Barry Evans plays the English teacher, and you have a French person. You've got the Indian and Pakistani students who obviously don't get on. Spanish, French, German, and there's a Chinese student, and it's like you're obviously they've been told to lean into that accent because all the other accents are just about passable, but then the Chinese one is like. That's a bit, and then you've got the guys, the Italian and the Greek guys are supposed to. It could be interchangeable because they're all speaking. I speak like this, and is that the Greek guy or is that the Italian guy?
Is one of the guys in the class not played one of the guys in
Last Crusade?
Yes. Like the cruciform kind of
Yeah.
protectors. Remember?
Yeah, I think he's playing the Greek. I think he's playing the Greek guy, but whether that actor was actually Greek or whether he's one of these ones where you're kind of
anywhere in the Middle East, you
Yeah.
could just pencil me in. Yeah, the music was obviously a big part of the movie, and obviously Spencer Davis Group, Traffic, Stevie Winwood,
and
Muff Winwood as well.
Muff
We've got Muff and Bush in this movie.
But then and it was, as I say, that Andy Ellison, he's the one that sings that the kind of lament. It's been a long time.
Who sings the theme tune?
That's Traffic.
Yeah. That kind of sounds like Stevie Winwood.
No, it is Steve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Stevie Winwood. Yeah, because that's the one they wanted to. Obviously, Paul McCartney did the soundtrack to what's it called? The Family Way. With Hayley Mills and Howell Bennett, and obviously Hunter Davies thought, we'll go and speak to him.
It shows like a product of its time that Jamie is going to spend the night at his bud's house. Brings his pajamas.
Well, exactly, because he says this goes to show. He says, look, nowadays you'd have a hold all, but probably back then people didn't have hold alls or knapsacks or stuff like this. So he needs he goes and needs some brown paper to wrap his pajamas in, but it's only till when he gets to the house and opens them up. They're two tops. He hasn't got a bottom, so he's got two pajama tops.
I thought that when I first seen it, I thought it was like his father's pajama bottoms are like 10 sizes too large or something.
Yeah,
look a bit kind of scruffy. And there's after dinner, there's a whole scene where everybody's all up to some hanky panky and going off in all directions.
Yeah,
and
as I
stuff.
say, they start Bernham hopping, looking for. Everybody's had a wee bit too much drink, and everybody's looking for the other person. So the Denham Elliott character, he's looking for not the au pair. The au pair.
Like a assistant. But she's Helga from Germany or something.
She's Helga from Germany.
Why didn't you get a French one? Oh, they were all booked up. And then was that Damon Elliott's drinking the wine and says, "Oh, these was it something like these friends know what to do with these grapes?" I know. And then later on, he's all these Albanians know what to do with these grapes.
That's the thing, isn't it? And then Mrs. Beauchamp, that's
she's like got a touching his hand on the dinner table. I mean, it seemed to be quite an open family, didn't they?
Well, that's she's played by Maxine Audley, and she was in Peeping Tom, Sinful Davy, Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. I think Peeping Tom. I don't know if she plays the mother of
the woman downstairs.
Yes, I think that's who she plays, but obviously with the aged, makeup and stuff like that.
Yeah, I bought the 4K version of that. I've only watched it once and I listened to the commentary. I like listening to commentaries talking about these older movies and.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think what's coming up recently is it tomorrow? There's Billy Liar 4K.
I got going way off topic. I got a pretty good deal from Amazon yesterday. There's like a three 4K DVDs for £50. Okay, so I mean, you're only saving like if they're about £20, you're only saving like a tenner, sort of. I know. But there was a couple of movies I wanted, and then I had to pick a third movie. So there was to go into my Euro trash expertise. There was a Joe D'Amato movie called Anthropophagus. Okay, which has to be seen to believe, and then his follow-up movie later on, just a couple of years later, was a kind of a Halloween rip-off called, what was it called? Jesus, I can't remember the name of it. Sort of like, probably like early 80s. But I think it was called Absurd.
Absurd.
Yeah. And that's maybe even worse, basically. But I had to get them because they're cult classics. And then I had to pick up a third, so I got the sequel to Sisu. Is it Sisu?
Oh yes,
the Finnish guy that just kills Nazis and stuff.
And because the director of that, Sisu, he's now going to make the prequel for First Blood.
Oh, okay, good. Because I kind of like his style, and I think he did kind of wonders with the first movie. I quite really enjoyed the first movie. So
yeah. So obviously he's the. If anybody's can do how did John Rambo become John Rambo, then it's that director.
Yeah, but he's not going to have the same guy playing John Rambo. This like 80-year-old Finnish guy, kind of old craggy
chops.
But just kind of I quite enjoyed the first one, so I'd never seen the second one, so I just picked that as my third. But yeah, so the point I was going to make is, okay, there was a three for £50, but then it came up multi buy promotion as well. Now I have no idea what that was, so I got all three movies for £19. So I thought there's obviously some sort of mistake. So I did the order,
yes, and
then I double checked the order, and I only paid £19 for 3 4K movies. Something's funny. I don't think that was right. But I only paid £19 for 3 movies. 2 of the movies, the 2 shittiest movies, are $24.95, and the other one was $19.95.
Yeah,
and I got all 3 for £19 and change.
I must add that this podcast is not sponsored by Amazon in any way.
I couldn't believe my I was going to say my ears, but my eyes. I couldn't believe it. There's obviously some sort of mistake here, but I put it through and double checked it, and I got 3 4K movies for £19. So so I'll get them tomorrow. So I was happy about that. That was a good deal. Yeah. And then I went on it again, and just for like example, just took another 3 movies and put them in, and then I was only getting the £10 off. It was only like 3 for £50, so I know. So it didn't happen the second time. It only happened the first time.
Perhaps maybe it's a one deal.
Multi-buy promotion.
Well, I wonder whether or not maybe the algorithm. I wonder if it nowadays these things can pop up. You know, they're so directed, so pinpointed that you pick 3 and it'll come right away.
Maybe it's like you know how you play computer games, and if you do 3 things in a specific order,
yes,
you get like a hidden Easter egg. Maybe that's what. Maybe it was a hidden Easter egg for a promotion. I don't know. Or maybe if you bought two Joe D'Amato movies, they're doing you. This is we feel sorry for this guy, so we're going to give a multi-buy promotion.
Well, that's the thing. Buy 2. What was the D'Amato? Yeah, but buy 2 D'Amato movies and get the third non-D'Amato movie free.
Just get the rest free. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so that was quite chuffed with that. So
that's the thing. Is obviously Barry Evans. He's
not to get confused with Barry Humphries.
Yes, or Barry Evans from the character from EastEnders.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, as I said, there's a little bit of nudity. There's a couple of lines which were trimmed from that they were censored. That there's this feeling that when he bumps into Runny Old Linda. And
is it Runny Old Linda or Ruddy Old Linda?
Runny. So obviously I don't know whether or not it's her nose is always running or stuff like that.
Who's this girl?
This is just one of his dreams. It's like he has
Kind of looks like Jane Wheedlin from the Go-Go's.
He has the dream on the bus, and he's seeing all the women on the bus. So there's a couple of lines that when he bumps into Linda, and at the end she says, "Oh, no hard feelings then," and he says, and Jamie says, "That's what you think." You know, so the tiny little lines, and he pulls a condom out of his drawer. That's cut, and obviously there's a lot more nudity when they're down at the beach at the lake centre when they go skinny dipping. You know, so there's a censored version which I think is actually probably better. You know,
so there's a Scandinavian cut of this movie that's got more boobs.
Yes, more which you kind of get the point. After a certain point, you think, yeah, I get that. Let's, you know, because yeah, but then that's the thing about this. The book was seen as a wee bit scandalous, and you don't know. You're watching this in 1968 if it was, you know, how shocking-ish it was. You know, its frankness. You know.
There's a scene in this movie that Jamie's mother's got some sort of contraption on her head. What the fuck's that?
Oh, that's to dry her hair.
Okay.
And it's when Vanessa Howard Audrey comes to invite
Usually women just wrap a towel around their hair or something.
Well, that's there's a scene when
this is the
out,
scene where Audrey comes
pants,
in.
And
there's a jag in the outside.
There's a jag, and then and she says she has his underpants up to the light. Says, "Look, I don't know. Look, I don't know how many times I wash him. He still gets holes in them." And then he says to him, "He will wear them the whole week through," you know. And then that's when she says the line about not too many of those nasty drugs, you two. Which once again, it's like a time traveling line. It's like something from the 80s you would put into. If you're making a spoof about a 60s film, you would put lines like this in.
Well, this kind of reminds me of like Grange Hill now, and was it the Diary of Adrian Mole?
Yes.
Kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, but once again, he was you know, I thought he was obviously you don't know what people have on in their private lives, you know. But Barry Evans, he was only getting little bits of work, and then.
Are we going to talk about his tragic end to his life, Barry Evans? How he died?
Well, it's an open verdict.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it suicide, was it?
No.
What was it?
It was, he was found in his home, and...
Were you doing it like in his 40s or something?
Yes, yeah, he was he working as a taxi driver? Something like this, and... He was found, and people assumed that people had broken in, but so it was a kind of open verdict. It wasn't, you know,
sad.
So I think
so basically it was kind of
unexplained. I think
so. He kind of gave up on acting, or his career kind of just washed up, and he.
Well, that's the thing. I think maybe he probably would have, if he'd hung on a few more years, maybe he'd have like a Tarantino reinvention. But it's one of those. But also, what. You don't know what offers he was getting, you know. But perhaps if he was, it's like any actor. It's like some people don't like to be typecast, but some people say if you're being typecast, you're being employed. You know, you look at Robert Morley. It's like, you know, we want this, you know, big English, you know, and it's like yeah, he'll work. Or there's the Irish actor who's got the white beard. You always see him in comedies. He's always playing the stoker or a captain of a ship. He always. He always worked. Maybe Barry Evans was offered the kind of youthful parts and said, "Look, I don't want this. I want something else."
Yeah, you should just. I mean,
well,
if you're getting steady work.
Well, but then if it's not what you want, it's you look at Tarantino turned his was it Robert? Is it Robert Foster? You know, Robert Foster in The Black Hole, and then nothing, and then obviously a wee bit of TV, and then Tarantino says, "Yeah, I want him." I mean, Tarantino was
Robert Foster from Vigilante and exploitation movies.
Yeah.
He was in Delta Force. He played the evil Arab guy.
Yeah, and then he was in Jackie Brown.
Yeah. And there was also there's two of them I always get mixed up. Robert Foster and Michael Parks. They're kind of similar kind of actors that were kind of in kind of exploitation movies, and they kind of resurrected the career later on. Like Michael Parks at the start of From Dusk Till Dawn, he has that little kind of monologue where he goes in and then he's talking about how if he catches those two guys, these two killers, he's going to have his way with them.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
And
And
I think that was what was the guy who's behind the bar? Oh God,
Cheech and
no, at the start of the movie, he was from Perfect Storm. He plays Bugs or something. What was his name?
Oh yes,
yeah, he was kind of a good actor, so I know. And then like basically, they kill Michael Parks, and then the guy says he signaled to him.
Yeah, I said.
So it says, I didn't signal to him. I should have won a fucking Oscar. That was a great performance. So
yeah,
brilliant.
No, that's So I think. Yeah, he was discovered. I don't know whether or not maybe some kids had broken in and then had discovered him, and then they were, somebody was, arrested and then let off. But yeah, and a similar thing with Angela Scola. She had troubles with mental health and alcohol and stuff like that, and she'd ingested a corrosive substance.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't, as I say, it wasn't. She hadn't taken his own life. I think the judge or the magistrate had seen she wasn't in the right order of the mind, so it wasn't, But that was horrible. But as I say, you've still got all the performances on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, and you can,
Yeah. What about like Sam Neill passing away? That's pretty,
Sam. Yeah.
Sad.
That's the thing. That's where, as I say, there's performances and live on as long as people keep watching the films or TVs or
as long as the mediums there.
They'll be exactly, and I think remember that's what some actor had said, that you'd never know when your last performance will be.
No,
so it's
I'm pretty sure there's a Sam Neill movie that hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
That's going to come out probably next year.
Yeah. So I mean, for every, as I say, people talk about, say, like Peter Sellers, you've got Being There, but then his last film was like the fiendish plot of Fu Manchu. So it's one of these things where, make sure you do your best work all the time, because you never know when your last performance, because you could be working on a film or you've got another 2 films to come out, and it's like, what is this? But yeah,
Yeah, well, like Peter Cushing, he never phones it in. He always gives 100%, no matter what crap or trash he's doing. He gives 100% all the time.
And that's why his performance stand out. I remember that's what was it? Tim Burton?
Yeah,
Told Johnny Depp for Sleepy Hollow, watch Peter Cushing, that kind of performance, when he's doing that Ichabod Crane, that thing about, he never phones it in at all, and you absolutely buy the performance, because it's there, because he doesn't, and his intonation, doesn't matter what he's in, even when he's in Biggles.
Yeah. What was that, about 85 or something? Biggles was it was like a go back in time kind of thing.
It was a go back in time, but it's like what we talked about with Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like after Raiders came out, everybody's looking for a kind of, they can't do the 30s, so let's go earlier. But then once you go earlier, it's like
the technology is different.
Technology is different, so you're going to have like a Biggles kind of thing, and it's
Yeah, so that's kind of World War One kind of biplanes kind of thing.
Biplanes, and then a helicopter turns up, and it's all to do with looking for a what do you call it? Some piece of technology,
You know what? I haven't I've thought about that movie since I watched it in the 80s.
But it's called Biggles something in time. Something in time.
Yeah, there's like some kind of added headline as well, sort of to the title. I can't remember.
Well, see, that's the thing, because in actual fact, it's like when people get really pernickety about like titles, and it's like, it's not Die Hard 2, it's Die Hard, Die Harder, Die Hard 2, Die Harder. It's not, Die Hard 2 and all this sort of stuff.
It's like, was it like the Rambo movies? You got First Blood, you got Rambo, First Blood Part 2, and then you got Rambo 3, which doesn't make sense because it should be Rambo 2, First Blood Part 3. So
Yes. Well, obviously, yeah. That's yeah. Well, how about the Halloweens in various forms, or the Hellraisers or stuff like that?
yeah, well, I loved the first Hellraiser, but I wasn't fond of any sequels. Apart from, actually, I lie. I had a cheesy fondness for the third one, where it's got like a Cenobite. It's got CDs coming out of its head, sort of. Stuff. The third one's quite funny. So
yeah,
I think that was the one where, because the first two were kind of set in Britain.
Well,
and
it's supposed to be America. Well, it's supposed to be America.
Yeah, but I don't think it kind of.
Yeah, it's supposed to be New York. That's the thing.
You just know. I know there's in Brooklyn there's a lot of kind of red brick houses and stuff that kinda, but you just know. You know by the sky.
Yeah. Well, that's what people don't realise. You can tell right away the low cloud. It's like when you look at Full Metal Jacket, you think, no, that's not the South of America.
You know what? They can get away with that if they shot it in that kind of noir, crust blacks, black and white kind of thing.
Yes.
You won't notice it because it would just look like really good black and white photography.
Yeah.
So you won't notice it. You only notice it with the drab kind of colours and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think of Nolan's Odyssey coming out and kind of breaking box office and stuff?
Well, I think people talk
but
about.
everybody was like panning it off before.
Well, I think maybe outside of Spielberg, maybe this Christopher Nolan is the newest director that people are going to see. A director just like Hitchcock. I'm going to see Hitchcock. Don't care what it is, Hitchcock. And maybe nowadays, it's Christopher Nolan. Going to see Christopher Nolan. That's it. You know, it wouldn't matter what the subject matter was.
Yeah, like when we were growing up, like probably if you got actors like a Clint Eastwood, no matter what the movie was, if it was a Clint Eastwood movie, you go and see it. So,
yeah.
But now you got like they don't. There's not really any actors that really have that kind of pull anymore.
No.
Maybe like Tom Cruise when he does the Mission Impossible movies and stuff. But there's not really that many actors that have that kind of pull. But directors, Christopher Nolan. And maybe a few other directors I can't really think of at the moment.
Yeah. No, when we're talking about Clive Donner, and I said about not to confuse with Richard Donner or Stanley Donen, and people might say, well, Clive Donner, Richard Donner, you can understand, but the thing about Stanley Donen is he directed Singing in the Rain, and he directed On the Town, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. But there was those handful of films in the 60s which kind of ties in to Here We Go Around the Mulberry Bush, because he made Arabesque, Two for the Road, Bedazzled, and The Staircase, where you've got Richard Burton and Rex Harrison playing gay hairdressers, lovers. But it's the Bedazzled and the kind of Arabesque, which, to the uninitiated, Here We Go Around the Mulberry Bush and Bedazzled, it's kind of mixed, and it's kind of hip happening. It's kind of the same.
Well, at least we didn't have any like kind of singing and dancing kind of thing. No, like having like musical numbers.
Well, that's the thing.
Like in Austin Powers.
See, that's the thing that sometimes you go to the source, and if the source is good, there's some films that they're so one-offs that you try to look for another film like it, and you can't find it. Say like a Billy Liar or stuff like that. That you might find the cinematography but not the story. You might find the story but not the cinematography. You might find the acting but not the music. And there's so many, and that's why this is such a one-off. This film, the way it's the looks, the music, the story, it seems genuine. A lot of people at the time thought, you wouldn't have thought it was made by adults. You would have thought because it was much of the moment. But that's down to the writing, the producing. I mean, obviously Hunter Davis did the script, but then Larry Kramer, who was the producer, he had additional dialogue. Because obviously they'd made what did they make before? Oh, they made obviously What's New Pussycat, And then, because a lot of people look at Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush and look at Clive Donner and think, oh, well, you just ripped off Richard Lester. But then, if you've ever seen What's New Pussycat, there's a lot of jump cuts and colour and all that sort of stuff. So it's not like, oh, you just made a colour version of the Knack by Richard Lester, or, you know. I mean, some people at the time, I think, they thought the film was too trendy because it was like, you know. But then...
What do you think of the clothes in the movie, like the flowery shirts?
Well,
and
see,
stuff?
that's the thing where I think it maybe just slightly tips over. I think, you know, I think anything later than that, and you've got like people wearing like headbands with feathers on them and all this sort of stuff. I think it's too hippie-ish. That is just about on the cusp. It's just about turning over, you know, into being too. I think it's trendy. It looks good. Obviously, the flowery shirts with the frills. It's not, you know, it's just the right balance of, yeah, I think.
And probably over 10 years later, Alex Thompson will be doing Excalibur, kind of.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. Alex, yeah. He was, I think he started off, because he was kind of young when he did it, so it was like, he obviously did Dr. Phibes, he did I Start Counting, he did a lot of kind of horror-ish films, and then, yeah, that's some run at Alien 3, that's a lot of... and funnily enough, he was going to be the cinematographer on Jesus Christ
Superstar.
Was he going to be Jesus Christ Superstar?
No, you just said Jesus Christ. So
Yes, yeah. No, he was going to be in Jesus Christ Superstar, and he was injured. So he was then he had to recuperate, and as he was recuperating, he kind of worked on second unit on he did additional footage for Superman, and what else did he do? The 7% solution. Oh, and The Man Who Would Be King. So
good, yeah. That's classic.
So that this is, as I say, I don't think we've ever talked about a cinematographer with that's a fairly impressive CV, because a lot of cinematographers are like a couple of tent poles, but this is like, you know.
We talked a bit about Douglas Slocum when he did Raiders and stuff. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, Alex Thompson, just some remarkable kind of visual styles.
And as you say, that he was never nominated for a BAFTA. He was he got like British the Society Awards, but never nominated for a BAFTA at all, and only one Oscar nomination for Excalibur. That was it. And I think that sometimes you'll see with a lot of cinematographers that you think, what? You get Oscar nominated by no BAFTA, or it's crazy.
Blade Runner, Jordan Cronenworth or something did the cinematography for Blade Runner. Did he get anything or something? Because I mean that film looks fantastic. But then, is he just doing what Ridley Scott's asking him to do? Because basically Ridley Scott seemingly was spending hours and hours just setting up single shots, and which was really pissing off the producers. But Michael Daly, for instance, who's the guy that kind of just fucked up the Wicker Man, basically, sort of, you know, when he was at British Lion. Seemingly he took so long to set up shots and stuff. So you wonder if it's really, because obviously, basically, Ridley Scott's pretty much old school. He does all pretty much a jack of all trades. He does it all. So you wonder how much influence it was at Jordan. I think Jordan Cronenworth was his name. He did the cinematography of Blade Runner, but you kind of wonder how much influence was inputted by Ridley Scott, just setting up lighting and stuff, you know, smoke and stuff.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe he says, right, you know, you are contractually obliged to have a cinematographer, but yeah.
It's amazing how he's still going, but he's completely changed now, because he's not the pernickety bastard basically when he was making a movie now, because he's making movies quicker than anybody else.
Yeah, well, he has that thing. He has the setup of the 6 or 7 cameras, and he just shoots it once or shoots it kind of twice.
Yeah, and then he says, "We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post."
No, that's a bad. And also, he doesn't like to have a full script because he says, "But then we can't change it." And it's like, yeah, but you look at your film and you think, if you ever seen Alien Covenant, it's like you've just gone against.
He's just like making up as he goes along.
You're making up as he goes along. The life cycle of the alien has to be this way. You can't speed it up. It has to be this way, or people are just going to think, you know what? But yeah, there's a bit of melancholy in the in the film, and as I say, I think the uncensored version, I don't think you need as much, because in the censored version, Mary, the Judy Geeson character, has a shirt on.
I'm gonna check out The Eagle Has Landed. Just to see Judy in that song, because I haven't seen that movie for years as well. Is that the one with Michael Caine and Donald Sutherland? Is it?
Yes, and also you've got Judy Geeson, and also you have. Do you have Jenny Agutter?
Oh, okay. And then that actor always plays playing a German.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But also that's the thing with Donald Sutherland. You get confused between. I got confused between The Eagle Has Landed and he was in that film. Is it the 80s?
Where Eagles Dare?
No, was it Eye of the Needle? Is he playing like a German with?
I remember that name rings a bell.
He's playing another kind of person like that. Is he? But yeah, like I said, up until about the 80s, people were dismissive of the 60s films. You know, that they were either, they weren't interested at all. And it's like, that's when, as I say, I read that British 60s cinema, and that I got hooked. And I got hooked just by the descriptions in the film, to think that these films sound absolutely amazing. And that's where I became interested in that. And if you look at British films from, let's say, 57 to 72, 73, that's a whole breadth of, I don't think you'll find any other decade that that has that kind of, breadth of films. From as I say, from the 50s black and white all the way through to the kind of the 70s. I mean, maybe a slight difference in the technology, but when it comes to storytelling and the changing in attitudes and music, editing, titles, everything. And there's a lot of character actors that only appear a couple of times, and there's the croupier, and that he's played by what's the actor's name? Oliver Cotton, who plays Curtis, and that's the guy who was in Firefox, and he played the Borgia. There was a TV series of the Borgias in the 80s, and he's
nice family,
the Borgias. But that Oliver Cotton is a Shakespearean actor, and he's the one in the boat that Mary is going to have a weekend with the next Sunday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just trying to, I had a thought and I completely lost my train of thought. Just trying to think. It kind of looks a little bit like Angie Dickinson or something. It's kind of.
Yeah. But obviously he's got that kind of that hairstyle, whether it's the Jamie character, the Barry Evans, he's always had that kind of hairstyle. It's almost like I don't mean like a Sean Connery, but it's almost like a George Lazenby, that kind of hair, the way it's cut, the way it's styled, very kind of mid-60s. Yeah, that's Oliver Cotton. He wrote a lot of scripts, as TV scripts as well, and plays. But yeah, as it ends, that he realises that he's looking for something more. I suppose in some ways looking for a relationship rather than just a bit of here, a bit there.
A bit of Mulberry Bush.
A bit of Mulberry, a bit of Gooseberry Bush.
And thing is, she's into different things than he is, sort of. I know.
Well, yeah. I mean, you might look at that and you think, well, that's been, you're being possessive, or you're being old-fashioned, or you're a prude, But then it's like, well, that's interesting. That's a film made in '67, and people are talking. It's like it's not somebody looking back at the '60s with rose tinted glasses. This is people making a '60s film. People saying, "Well, no, things are changing." You know.
Well, kind of. You know what? You kind of screwed up because you should have just played along with the ride, sort of. I know.
Yeah.
And you know, she might change her mind, and things might have changed. You know, later on down the line, kind of thing. You know. Or then she just like say, "No, I'm going off with the boat guy." So I know.
I'm going off with the boat guy, or it's like, no, you do your thing, I do my thing, and we'll see that. That's obviously, I think.
Well, she was kind of upfront
Yes.
about it straight from the thing, and then he kind of agreed with that at the start, but then it's not real deep down. It wasn't really what he wanted. So I know.
And obviously, it's like for a lot of people that in the '60s, this was the first time to have a real choice. You know,
basically just marry the first person you bang or something.
Well, that's exactly that. That's what he says. You know, the people you fancy. So that's what he says. You know, why is the ones that you fancy don't fancy you, and the ones that you fancy? I mean, and then he says, well, you struggle on until you meet half fancy somebody, and then you kind of, you know, she's washing her hair on Wednesdays. You're going to the bingo. You're this, and it's well, that's life. That's what life is. It is the mundane. It's basically at the end of the day, can you find somebody to tolerate you, and can you tolerate them? That's it.
That's basically it. I mean, you're just basically flatmates, friends, living together. It's
that's really what it is. It's the It's not the That's it. But then it's interesting that people think about, they have this idea of the 60s. I mean, even as I say, the Jamie Carter is saying, well, you know, the whole country's having it off and not me. And it's like, this has not been made in the 80s. This is somebody in the 60s saying this. So it's not, I suppose it's like if you made a film about the 90s, we grew up living in the 90s. It's like, no, it wasn't all, you know, raves and stuff like that. Not if you lived here, it wasn't all raves and stuff like that. So, you know, it's interesting when you look.
And then you had like the AIDS scare in the 80s and stuff.
Yeah. I remember watching something about the Haight-Ashbury, and even during the 60s, people were saying, oh no, that there's a lot of con artists, there's a lot of people coming to Haight-Ashbury and trying to...
San Francisco.
And this thing about free love and even...
fucking Charles Manson would have a piece of that.
Here's the thing, even at the time, when the news footage were speaking, this is 67, 68, people were saying, oh no, that you've got chancers coming and then hiding really horrible behaviour and saying, oh, it's free love, you shouldn't be so hung up. And it's like, no, even at the time, it's not like everybody in the 60s thought, oh yeah, you know, flung the doors open. It was like, oh no, you could see at the time, you know. That's the thing you don't know. And living now, when you look at people of the past, that they think people were totally different. They weren't that much different.
It's like, was it that Beach Boys guy, the drummer, what's his name?
Dennis Wilson?
Dennis, yeah. He comes home. Well, basically, he picked up a couple of chicks out on the road and he invited them back to the house. And he says that they're welcome to come back. And then he goes away to do some recording with the Beach Boys, and he comes back and the whole fucking Manson clan's taken over his house. See, and Charles Manson's there.
And then I'm sure if he said, hey, what's all this? Oh, no, why are you so hung up? And it's like, no, even at the time there was chancers and, yeah.
She kind of looks a bit like Talia Shire when she was younger, so a little bit. Diane Keane.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's interesting to see if the film had gone to Cannes, whether Barry would have gotten more offers or different offers, you know.
A bit of a joke where he kind of dings his bell of his bus, and the bus goes off, and he has to run after his own bus. And
then it goes to kind of psychedelic again, which can sometimes be. You know, it's only with hindsight to say, you know, you didn't need to go the psychedelic route, you know, in the titles and stuff like that. But it's of its time, you know.
I'm sure you could pick up a few buds as a bus conductor.
Well, as I say, on the bus.
up on the top. The top floor, is it? What was it? The
Top deck.
top deck. Yeah.
Not to be confused with the juice. Top deck, lager cider and cider apple, and the soft drink you'd buy in the shops.
Mm-hmm. So that's was it all around the Mulberry Bush?
Here we go round.
Oh, here we go around the Mulberry Bush. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for inviting me to watch this movie. I watched it twice, and I quite enjoyed it. It's different.
Yeah, it isn't quite as 60s as you think. It's a bit progressive, but
kind
also
of reminded me. Kind of sounds kind of that kind of very touching 70s kind of feel.
Well,
it kind of looks like kind of reminds me of Kubrick's.
There's a
Clockwork
touch
Orange
of that,
kind of look
and
at that. So.
I think it's right on the cusp, because if it had been made in the 70s, it would be more sex and less story. And which, that's the thing, because if you look at those kind of confessions films and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't think, that's, you could have done less of that and more story, and it would be a better film than, And as I say, it's quite, in some ways it's quite progressive and obviously it's of its time as well. But I think it's some great performances there. The music's good. It looks good. Cinematography is good. It's obviously it is what it is. It's a young boy looking to lose his virginity. So it's not anybody going into that. It's like, this is what you're going to see.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Ian.
Great. Super.
Was it super? Yeah. Was it? Well, thank you, Ian. Get back together. Do another film soon. Well,
my pleasure, Gary. As always.
Another one, but
from the vaults.
The vaults, yeah. Well, no rhyme or reason. We just pick a movie. There's not any particular type or anything, but we'll pick something, and hopefully we'll get back together in about a month or so's time, and talk about that movie. But thank you, and I'll see you again next month or so. Okay.
See you. Bye.
Bye.